Really? Okay. Yes, Castillo. Let's go time. I'm ready for the games. So what games am I talking about here? Well, I'm talking about the Death Watch games. Oh yes, that's right. Today we're playing Madworld. And Madworld is a game. I got nothing to go on that with. Look, Madworld is a Platinum Studios game. Same people who make Bayonetta, Wonderful 101, Nier Automata. I think I pronounced that right. Anyway, yes, we are going to be playing one of their first games, published by Sega, mind you, Madworld. Now, if you're thinking, well, since it's one of their first games, it couldn't possibly be as over the top as... No, it's pretty over the top. Speaking of which, I'm going to say it right now. We have a violent warning on this. Yeah, I probably put one at the start of the video too, like a big warning sign, but yeah, this video is going to be violent, gory, and otherwise horrific to those who are more family-friendly. Madworld is based off of Japanese manga, at least the art style is, and it's incredibly violent. But, yeah, that's what we're going to be taking on today. Why? Because I feel like it. It's totally not because I need to find somebody to help me with robotics or nothing. It's totally not that. I promise you. It's not me trying to build a whole mass of robots, since I stole blueprints from FNAF and stole power sources from Mario. No, it's not that. Promise. We are going to be taking on Death Watch today, so get your chainsaw arms ready and let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Let's take on Death Watch!
Now ain't that funny? I get paid. More gas surviving this game. It's crazy, I get more money by killing these fools. Now ain't that funny? Jack, he's a psychomaniac. That's right, it's Defo Sight.
So as always, let's start with the plot. Now, the plot's not too awfully important because realistically, you don't really figure out what the heck's going on until the end anyway. And for that, there's obviously going to be some spoilers. I always spoil plots. Let's get real here. So let's get right down to it. Spoil everything. You're playing as Jack Kamen. Who is Jack Kamen? Well, that's what the whole game kind of is about. His background story, more or less. But he's here for an undisclosed purpose. And the whole purpose is to figure out why these death games are even happening to begin with. You learn a lot more about the history of death games and all of that stuff through Jack and through this story, but you don't really figure anything out until the end. There's something about a hostage situation. Yeah, sure, you free a hostage maybe, and then you pimp smack her and go about your day. Truth be told, Jack's just trying to figure out what's going on, and to dismantle the death games in general, which he actually does at the end by winning the death games. Ha, go figure. Turns out he's the former champion with his identity completely and utterly erased and reassembled, and, yeah, he just kind of goes and kills everyone. Turns out the death games are actually started because a pharmaceutical company has this new virus and they're the only ones with the cure. And so they're trying to sell the cure and the virus and recouping losses. It's a bit complex, but it's not distinctively bad. The only problem is that you really don't find any of this out until the bitter end of the game. Like, there's always this, oh, that's a twist. Why is this guy involved? Whoa, what's going on here? Oh man, who's this guy? Oh gosh. But then you don't find anything out until the very end. When you think you got it figured out, no, they pulled out the rug from under your feet, and there you go. It's not the greatest way to do storytelling because it basically makes it hard for you to keep interest in the story. So, are the characters really good? What, that's where the next question lies, I guess, because I hate to say it, if the story doesn't keep you interested until the very end, it's nice to figure out at the end what the hell is actually going on and what the legitimate story is here. But for the most part, it would have been nice to figure out bits and pieces as you went along, and really, no, you don't do that. You find out a little bit here, a little bit there, but it seems like every possible inch of the story pulls the rug out from under you. So when you think what's going on, nope, that ain't it. And it's just kind of, I don't know. I don't find it really good story writing. It's not a bad story in general, and it works for what the game entails, but it's not what's keeping you interested here. As for the characters, they do a little bit better overall. You have Jack, and, figuring out what drives Jack is kind of nice. You have his partner in crime, who barely makes an appearance. You have Agent 13, who really has no correlation anywhere here, except that, oh, hey, he's not just working for the guy who funds part of the games. He is one of the guys who funds part of the games. Apparently he's really rich. I don't know. You have a doctor who is really important to the plot, but you don't know it until way later. Realistically, the characterization that you're going to really appreciate and like, as far as I'm concerned, are the boss fights. Yeah, they're one-off bosses for the most part, except for Rin, which I'll get into in the next game. But yeah, isn't that a while away now? The next game? Holy crap. But yeah, she actually shows up in the next game despite dying like this. Crunchy. Anyway, the whole thing is that you get a little bit of a characterization with each one of these boss fights. And the announcers, who basically announce for you throughout the entirety of the game, are really good. They're funny, they're fun, they're humorous. As much as their humor is dark, they're there. And they really pull the game together when it comes to characterization. Don't get me wrong, the boss fights have their moments. Jack has his moments. Everyone's got their moments, but the announcers are the best part. And Black Baron. I'm not gonna lie, Black Baron is hilarious, because he sets up every death minigame that you come across, and he dies in every one of them. Thanks to Matilda. Yeah. Remember when I said this game might be offensive? It's not just violence. Matilda... Black Baron is a pimp, and Matilda is, well, yeah. So, there's that for sure. And honestly, he has so much character development that it's really awesome to see him as the surprise final boss, which I thought was really cool, honestly. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for both characters and story. The plot is a little lacking until the very end, but the characters do make up for it, and while there's small little tidbits here and there, you don't really get a whole lot of time with each individual character, except for Jack, the announcers, and Black Baron. And are they enough to carry the rest of it? Yeah, I'd say so. They're hilarious. They're fun. The other characters do have their fun moments, but not compared to these four, that's for sure. But yeah, I think they can carry the story a little bit here. So there's a plus right there. Let's go talk about the gameplay, which is definitely the main focus of this game. So yes, gameplay is going to be what you're focused on. Is it good? Yeah, I'd say it's good. Is it overly complex? No. It is simple fun from beginning to end. The controls are not that complex. You can punch people, which is about useless. You can rev up your chainsaw, which is more powerful but has a limited gauge. and you can pick up people and throw them. Unless they're a boss fight, of course. And why is this so much fun? Well, for starters, again, punching people is about worthless. It's nice for a 1-2 hit, but doesn't really do much in the long run. Yeah, even with that big old arm of his. Unless he revs up his punch, which he can do when you're accidentally trying to, use your chainsaw. Basically, by swinging the Wii Remote, he'll hit. However, swinging the Wii Remote's the best way to use the chainsaw after you pull it out by pressing B. So, I mean, there's that too. But yeah, it's pretty simple fun. It slaughters foes, but that's not the name of the game here. The name of the game is to be creative with your kills, just so you can acquire points. Now, being creative with your kills means using different weapons, which you can do, and all kind of have a similar function to Jack's chainsaw, where by holding the B button on the Wii Remote, you have a charge attack. By swinging it, does a different attack. By pressing A, does a simple attack, There's also hazards that you can throw your enemy into. Something like a rose bush, per se, where you just grab the foe and just smash them into a spike. It's violent, it's grotesque, but it gives you a bit of points. You can put a tire on them, run them through with a signpost or whatever that level's variant is, and then hit them with a rose bush, which gets you more points. It's a combo. And the more combos you get, the higher your points go. The higher your points go, the more likely you are to find the boss room. And rinse and repeat for every level. I mean, that's the gameplay. You can pick somebody up and throw them into meat grinders. You can throw them at cars. You can throw them in front of a train in one level. There's a lot of stuff you can do here. And while it's not overly complex, there's definitely plenty of variation. And hence Death Battle minigames, where you're basically throwing foes into a certain area just to see them grinded, or throwing them into fireworks canisters to blow them up, or hitting them on the dartboard. There's just a lot to do. Now, that being said, there's really not much else to the gameplay. You can dodge, which is helpful for boss battles, sure. You can jump. It's good for exploring. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? There's really not much there. Even with the waggle technology of the Wiimote, which helps you through some quick time events, there's literally just not many things you can do, but there's a lot you can do thanks to level design, if that makes any sense. Yeah, the level design, which adds hazards and items and weapons to your array of abilities, is what really sets this game apart. Plus, each level has a boss fight at the end of it, so while the gameplay works, it's functionable, it's not that complex, but it's still pretty good. Let's take a look at the levels for a minute. Oh, here we go. The levels are fun. You can explore them, you can find new ways to kill people. Yes, it's violent to say that, but hey, guess what? That's Madworld. You can find all sorts of things in every level. There's the regular downtown area, which has trains. It's got a bike level, which is actually kind of fun, oddly enough, because it switches up the gameplay just a tad bit, but you know how it goes. Bosses in the city area include a guy with wind turbines, holy crap, which is a really fun boss fight. Little Eddie, who's just a giant mutant with a chain and ball, kind of predictable. First boss, it happens. And an ambiguously gay cowboy that you basically shoot with his own guns. These are great characters. They're fun boss battles. Chinatown is stereotypical Chinatown. You have Rin Rin, who I've mentioned before. You have an Oni fight, which is awesome. I think it's called Shogun, but I mean, he's basically an Oni demon. And a sumo fight, which is also very cool. And then Transylvania, which is easily the worst level in the game. You have the shamans, who nobody likes. You have Frank, who people rarely like, but has a good death animation. And you have the vampire, which kind of makes up for it. Then you got like an Area 51 area. Let me say Area 5 more times, jeez Louise. With aliens, futuristic, cybernetic people, weapons, whatnot. Got a big machine, nobody likes to fight. I think I cheesed the fight on that one. I didn't even get to a quick time event. You also have Jedi Masters who are pretty good, and Kojak who you fight on a bike, and actually that's a fun fight too. The areas aren't that great in Area 66, but you know, can't have winners everywhere. Some of the stages suck, sometimes the bosses suck, just that kind of thing. Most of the stages though, up until one particular one, it's the one with the Masters, are pretty good. I actually enjoy them a lot. So, there you go. And then you have the final boss fight, with the final level being a giant casino, and then a mini boss fight, which it's more of a marathon where you fight almost every mini boss. Kind of sucks, but okay. Then you fight the final boss, which is great. Most of the levels are fantastic. And while not all the boss fights are great, most of them get the job done or are really good. So, there you go. Level design and gameplay. The level design is so good that it makes the gameplay better. Even though the gameplay is incredibly simple and a bit repetitive at times, it's good because the level design is so varied. There you go. See? I knew I was making a point somewhere along that line. Let's talk about secrets and side quests, huh? So, here's where the biggest problem I think Madworld has is that there's really not much in the way of replayability. When you beat the game, you unlock hard mode, and you also gain the ability to use the double chainsaw and the katana. I mostly messed around with the katana. And other than a few nods and Easter eggs here and there really isn't much reason to go back. There's some challenges that you can do for added points, but other than boosting up your score to brag to your friends, it really doesn't get you anything that I'm aware of. So, let's just wrap this up. Overall, I think Madworld is a great game. That being said, the secrets and side quests are non-existent, which kind of sucks, other than like a couple of special weapons that you get for beating the game. And the story is kind of off. I just don't think the storytelling is really good. I think the story itself, the plot, is perfectly fine for a video game like this. But, yeah. Other than that, I think the game carries itself well. The characters are great, particularly several of them are really super good. And the levels are fantastic. The gameplay can get a bit repetitive, but since the level design is so damn good, the gameplay kind of gets a pass for me too. Can I recommend this game? Yes. I think at some point in time, you should probably try this out for the gameplay aspects of it. But, what if you're not into violent video games? Well, then obviously no. This isn't for you. If you're easily offended, stay away. And if you don't like announcers, you're not going to like this one. But overall, I think this is a really decent game. The level design complements the gameplay incredibly well. Yeah, there's a few secret weapons, and that's about it. That's all you get. And the story is meh, but the characters really keep the game going. All in all, yeah, I think you should try it out. It's not something you need to rush out and get. I'd probably say roughly 7 out of 10-ish. But definitely try it out. For sure. That's what I recommend. As always, guys, please like and subscribe the video if you actually liked and want to subscribe. I would think that's obvious. If you want notifications from me, try the bell icon because YouTube doesn't like me. I'm a new guy. So, yeah. But, next time we meet, I should hypothetically be discussing Anarchy Reigns, at least when it comes to my Sauron Takes on main reviews. Anarchy Reigns being the lesser-known sequel of Madworld that nobody really wants to talk about for some odd reason. Not that Madworld gets a whole lot of recognition anyway, but that's a shame because it's a really decent game. Is Anarchy Reigns the same way? Well, next time we'll find out. Maybe it's another diamond in the rough, but since less people talk about it than Madworld, maybe it also sucks. We'll see how it goes. But, as always, take care. Bye-bye.